Lena Carter loved her quiet mornings at the lakeside diner, where the smell of coffee mixed with the crisp autumn air. Her hands wrapped around her usual mug, she listened to the hum of conversation and the clinking of silverware, familiar sounds that grounded her. Beside her, a worn leather leash connected her to Ghost, her massive silver-furred Great Pyrenees. To everyone else, Ghost was just a gentle giant, a therapy dog who helped Lena navigate the world after her accident. But today, that illusion would shatter. When a group of rowdy bikers swaggered in, mocking Lena's blindness and taunting Ghost, they had no idea the storm they were about to unleash. Because Ghost wasn't just a therapy dog. He was a former elite military K9, trained to take down threats twice his size. And when their leader Dex made the mistake of lunging at Lena, Ghost's deep, guttural growl wasn't a warning. It was a promise. Before continuing the story, comment below where you're watching from. I'm excited to see how far this story has spread. If you enjoy it, don't forget to like and subscribe for more exciting stories like this. The diner fell silent as Dex's boots scuffed the floor, his shadow looming over Lena's table. "Aw, the blind girl needs a fluffy bodyguard," he sneered, reaching out to flick Ghost's ear. The dog didn't growl, didn't even move, but Lena felt the tension coiling through the leash like a live wire. Across the room, Mira dropped a coffee pot with a clatter, her voice slicing through the tension. "Touch that dog, Dex, and you'll regret it." Dex just laughed, gripping the edge of Lena's table. Or what? He leaned in, his breath sour with whiskey. "You'll sick your pet on me?" Ghost's head turned, slow and deliberate, his ice-blue eyes locking onto Dex's throat. Lena's fingers found the scar behind Ghost's ear, the one she'd never questioned, as the first snarl ripped through his teeth. This wasn't the sound of a therapy dog. This was the sound of a soldier who'd just found his enemy. Glass shattered as Ghost launched forward, his 120-pound frame slamming into Dex with the precision of a tactical strike. The biker crashed backward into a booth, his mocking grin wiped away by raw terror. But Ghost didn't maul him. He didn't need to. With one massive paw pinning Dex's chest and teeth hovering a hair's breadth from his jugular, the dog went utterly still. A trained hold, a kill position. The diner erupted. Someone screamed. Chairs toppled, but Lena stood frozen, her mind racing. Therapy dogs didn't move like that. They didn't disarm threats with clinical efficiency. Behind the counter, Mira gasped. "Lena, what the hell is your dog?" Before she could answer, a new voice cut through the chaos, gravelly and sharp with authority. "Stand down, Sergeant." A man in a faded army jacket stood in the doorway, his gaze locked on Ghost. "That's an order." And, impossibly, Ghost obeyed. The stranger's command hung in the air like gun smoke as Ghost slowly released Dex, though his piercing gaze never left the trembling biker. Lena's pulse roared in her ears as she turned toward the voice, her unseeing eyes wide with disbelief. "Who are you?" she demanded, her fingers tightening around Ghost's leash. The man stepped forward, boots scuffing against the broken glass littering the diner floor. "Captain Elias Riker," he said, his voice low but carrying the weight of command. "And this?" He gestured toward Ghost, who now sat at perfect attention, muscles still taut with readiness. "This is K9 Unit Shadow, or at least he was." Lena's breath caught. Shadow. The name sent a shiver down her spine, unfamiliar yet undeniably fitting. Around them the diner's patrons stood frozen, caught between fear and fascination. Even Dex, still sprawled on the floor, had gone unnaturally still, his bravado shattered. Mira was the first to break the silence. "You're telling me that dog," she pointed at Ghost, her voice incredulous, "is some kind of secret soldier?" Riker's mouth quirked, though his eyes remained solemn. "Not a secret, just retired." He knelt slowly, extending a hand toward Ghost. The dog hesitated for only a second before leaning into the touch, a low whine escaping him. A sound Lena had never heard before. It was grief. It was recognition. And in that moment, Lena understood. Ghost, no Shadow, had a life before her, a life of duty, of loyalty to someone else. The realization settled like a stone in her chest. Riker straightened, his gaze shifting to Lena. "We need to talk." The vinyl booth creaked as Riker slid into the seat across from Lena, his calloused hands wrapped around a coffee mug. Ghost, no Shadow, lay tensed between them, his head swiveling slightly as he tracked every movement in the diner. "He was the best tracker in our unit," Riker said quietly, ignoring the stares from nearby patrons. "Saved 12 men in the Alzara ambush. Took a bullet extracting my team." His thumb traced the chipped rim of his cup. "Command retired him after that. Paperwork said he went to a therapy program. Didn't know it was this." Lena's fingers found the bullet scar beneath Ghost's thick fur, the one the vet had called a old injury. Her throat tightened. "You're here to take him back." Riker's jaw worked. "I'm here because his chip pinged at a military database when the diner's security cam flagged an aggressive animal incident." He leaned forward, the scent of gun oil and pine needles clinging to his jacket. "But no, he's yours now. Always was, far as the Army's concerned." The unspoken question hung between them. "Then why are you really here?" Behind the counter, Mira slammed the espresso machine shut. "So what? He's supposed to just forget how to be a soldier because some paperwork says so." Ghost's ears twitched at the rising voices. Riker exhaled sharply. "I need his help. One last mission. There's a kid, a senator's daughter, taken near the Canadian border. Snow's coming. Regular K-9 teams keep losing the trail." His eyes locked onto Lena's. "He's the only one who can find her." The diner's heater rattled. Somewhere, a fork clattered onto a plate. Lena reached down, her fingers sinking into Ghost's fur, warm, alive, hers. Except suddenly, she wasn't sure if that was true anymore. Lena's fingers curled into Ghost's fur, her knuckles whitening. The weight of Riker's request pressed down on her. Not just a mission, but a child's life. She swallowed hard. "You're asking me to send him back into danger." Riker didn't flinch. "I'm asking you to let him do what he was born to do." He slid a photograph across the table, a grinning girl with braids no older than 10. "Emma Carter. Same last name as you. Funny, huh?" His voice roughened. "She's got maybe 48 hours in those woods before hypothermia sets in." A tremor ran through Ghost's body, his muscles taut as wire. Lena didn't need sight to know he was already tracking phantom scents, his training surging to the surface. He wanted to go. Mira slammed her palms on the table. "Hell no, you can't drag a blind woman's service dog into your—" "I'll go with him." Lena's voice cut through the diner's murmurs. Silence. Riker's coffee cup froze halfway to his lips. "Ma'am, this isn't a hike. I know what it is." She stood, Ghost rising beside her, his shoulder brushing her thigh. But he's not just your soldier anymore. He's mine. And if he's going back out there... Her hand found the tactical harness hanging by the door, the one she'd bought for their wilderness treks. We do it together. Ghost's tail gave one decisive thump. The armory smelled of gun oil and stale coffee, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead as Riker tossed a K9 tactical vest onto the table. Lena ran her fingers over the reinforced Kevlar lining, the GPS module, the unfamiliar pouches for medical supplies. Beside her, Ghost stood rigid, nostrils flaring as Riker attached his old insignia patch to the shoulder strap. "Rule 1, Riker said, buckling a satellite transceiver to Lena's belt. "You follow my orders exactly. No arguments." He shoved a panic button into her palm. "Rule 2, you hit this if anything goes sideways. Extraction teams on standby." Lena nodded, her stomach twisting as Mira strapped a GoPro to Ghost's vest. "Live feed to my tablet," Mira muttered, "so I can yell at you both when you do something stupid." Ghost suddenly stiffened, his ears pricking toward the door. Riker's head snapped up. "He's alerting. What's he?" Then Lena heard it too, the faint jingle of dog tags from the hallway. A massive German shepherd padded in, its gaze locking onto Ghost. Riker exhaled. "K9 Ajax, your backup tracker." The handler behind him, a woman with a scarred cheek, gave a curt nod. "We move in 20. As they filed out, Lena knelt before Ghost, pressing her forehead to his. His breath was steady, certain. She whispered the words neither of them needed to hear aloud. "Bring her home." The forest swallowed them whole, ancient pines groaning under the weight of gathering snow, the air sharp with the scent of frozen earth and diesel from the Humvees idling behind them. Lena gripped Ghost's harness, her boots crunching through brittle undergrowth as Riker's voice crackled in her earpiece. "Spread out. Ajax has her scent near the riverbed." Ghost pulled forward, his nose skimming the ground in methodical sweeps. But then he stopped dead. Not at the river, not where Ajax's team was headed. Ghost turned sharply west, his entire body vibrating with urgency. Lena yanked the radio to her lips. "Riker, he's got something. Different direction." Static, then negative. "Stick to the..." Ghost lunged. The leash burned through Lena's gloves as he dragged her into the trees, his pace accelerating from trot to sprint. Branches whipped at her face. Somewhere behind, Riker shouted. Then the wind shifted, and Lena smelled it too. Burnt fabric. Urine. The metallic tang of fear. Ghost's growl wasn't a warning this time. It was a promise. "Found you." The abandoned hunting cabin loomed ahead, its sagging porch creaking in the wind. Ghost's body was rigid beside Lena, his growl a near-silent vibration against her leg. Through the broken window, ragged breathing echoed. Too quick to be just the girls. "Too inside," Lena whispered into her radio. Static answered. The storm had knocked out comms. Ghost nudged her knee. "Wait here." She clenched his harness. "Like hell." A floorboard squeaked inside. Ghost moved, not with the controlled precision of a K9, but with something wilder, something personal. The door exploded inward under his weight. A man's shout, a gunshot. Lena stumbled after, her hands finding the frame as chaos erupted. Snarling, the wet tear of fabric, a scream, "Get it off!" Then a child's whimper. Her fingers closed around a fireplace poker just as a shadow lunged at her. She swung blind. The crack of bone. A body hitting the floor. Silence. Then a small, shaky voice. You came." Lena reached out. Emma's fingers were ice. Ghost's muzzle pressed into her free hand, wet with blood that wasn't his. The cabin door burst open as Riker and his team flooded in, weapons drawn, only to freeze at the scene before them. One kidnapper lay unconscious by the fireplace, his arm bent at a sickening angle. The other was pinned beneath Ghost's massive paws, the dog's teeth bared just shy of his throat. And in the corner, Lena knelt with Emma wrapped in her coat, humming a lullaby through her own trembling breath. Riker holstered his gun. "Medic!" he barked, but his eyes were locked on Ghost. The dog didn't move until Lena murmured, "Release." Only then did he step back, his muzzle streaked with red. Later, wrapped in a foil blanket by the extraction chopper, Emma clung to Lena's sleeve. "Your dog's a superhero," she whispered. Lena touched the fresh stitches on Ghost's shoulder. A graze from the bullet meant for her. "Yeah," she said softly. "Mine is." Riker approached, holding out Ghost's old service tag. "He's earned his retirement twice over now." His gaze flicked to Lena. "Both of you have." As the chopper blades thundered overhead, Ghost leaned into Lena's side, his weight warm and solid. Not a weapon, not a tool, just hers. Share which moment in this story resonated with you most. Subscribe our channel, Heartwarming Storytime, to help us spread stories of hope in a world that desperately needs them.